This is a guide on how to beat the Alpha Omega Easter egg solo on the realistic difficulty. I will assume that you have completed this Easter egg on normal difficulty, so I won't explain every step in detail. Here is the setup that I use for this game. Suit Up and Blood Debt are really useful elixirs for the boss fight. Some useful talismans for this Easter egg are the Battle Dragon Scale, the Glowing Phylactery, and the Major Reinforced Charm. When you spawn into the game, your main priority is to get to the generator room by round 2. On round 1 there are 13 zombies total. Knife them all with a stiletto knife to maximise points. I recommend that you take the path through the operations building so that you can pick up the first shield piece. At the start of round 2 you should pop a temporal gift elixir so that if a double point spawns you can immediately pick it up. You should try to kill the zombies with a knife, but make sure to shoot them a few times with the strife beforehand. Hopefully a double point drops early in the round, as this will allow you to easily reach the generator room. However, if a double points didn't drop, then it is still possible to reach the generator room using the following technique. Group up all of the zombies tightly, run into the horde and pull out your specialist weapon. The knockback effect will kill all the zombies, giving you 90 points each, but they will respawn back into the map, effectively duplicating them. Also, turning on the power causes additional enemies to spawn into the map, making it easier to reach the generator room. If you are unable to make it to the generator room before ending the round, then personally I recommend that you restart your game. However, if you used a talisman, then feel free to progress to the next round. Assuming that you were able to make it to the generator room by round 2, you should pick up the shield piece in the beds and go craft the shield in the greenhouse. The following step is extremely important. You should go and start the lockdown in the generator room, but then immediately run out of the area. This will cancel the lockdown, but will cause a lot of zombies to spawn in which you can kill to gain points. This process is repeatable infinitely, which allows you to afford all of your perks, as well as allowing you to hit the box until you get the rocket launcher and the monkeys. The first couple of times that you do this will be the most risky, as you have no perks and a weak gun. I recommend that you run to the outside area, gather the zombies in a loop like I do before killing them off, making sure to save one zombie so that you can repeat the process again. Your first priority should be to buy the Victorious Tortoise perk before buying the rest of your perks, and after you get all of them, you should hit the box until you get the rocket launcher and the monkey bombs.
How much more this can make poor bubbles take? I'm quite popular with the undead at the moment. Who would have thought the world's largest scalpel is also the sharpest?
Since this process is very tedious, I decided to use a fire sale elixir so that I don't have to farm as many points. In this game, I decided to do the generator points farm until I got the rocket launcher, all 4 perks, the galvanicles, and I also opened up all the doors that I could. Once you are ready to progress, you should go and start the lockdown but stay inside the generator room. You should try to avoid killing anything during the lockdown as they only give 10 points, but once the lockdown is over, any zombies that you kill gives the full amount of points. You can see on the screen how I group up the zombies. Make sure to save one zombie after the lockdown is completed.
Do I look like someone you should be messing with? Really? You're just going to throw bodies at the problem?
System restored. Beginning facility ventilation. Warning. Ventilation unsuccessful. Multiple unit malfunctions detected. Repairs required.
Your next goal is to repair the damaged vents, which are located in 4 buildings on the top area. When you start to repair a unit, a few zombies will spawn. If you have ammo in your shield, then you can fully repair the unit while killing zombies with your shield gun. However, if you need to, you can run away from the unit, kill any fast zombies and go back and finish the repair. No more zombies will spawn in once you interact with the same unit again, and you don't lose any progress on the repair. Once you have repaired all units, then you are almost ready to end the round. You should go and find the authorization codes which will be needed for the next step. Also, you should craft the Mark II assembly kit and the teleporter pads before ending the round. At the start of round 3, you should go and interact with Rushmore. This will start some dialogue, and during the dialogue, no zombies will spawn. This is a perfect time to use another fire sale so that you can try to get the monkeys or the rocket launcher if you didn't get them both on round 2. When the zombies start to spawn in, your priority should be to get the code for the Mark II frames. You get this code by killing zombies near certain TVs in a certain order. It takes 6 zombie souls for the TV to be charged, which will give you a number. Since you require 24 zombie souls in total to get the full code, I recommend that for one of the TVs you should group up the zombies and kill them using the knockback effect from the specialist weapon. The kills will charge the TV, but the zombies will respawn back into the map. Once you have the Mark II code, go and input it into Rushmore so that you have access to the Mark II frames. You should also input the authorization codes for the main Easter egg, as there should only be a few zombies left at this point. After you have inputted all of the codes, go and find the TV that is making a static noise and kill a zombie next to it with the galvanicles. Hopefully you still have some zombies left, as you don't want the round to transition. The TV will then start to read out times, which will be paired with a letter. Each letter corresponds to a certain building on the map. I recommend that you turn on subtitles for this step, as it becomes much easier to note down the correct times and corresponding letters. Once you have noted down all of the information, you should go to each building in the correct order and input the time onto the clock. If you hit the clock with a melee attack, the hour hand will move in 1 hour increments, and if you hold the interact button, the minute hand will move in 15-minute increments. After correctly adjusting all 5 clocks, go to the final building and interact with the final clock. The clock will go crazy until it lands on a time. Convert that time into a code and go and input it into Rushmore. Once Rushmore has finished with his dialogue, interact with him again to progress to the next step. For this next step, you need to locate a red crawler somewhere in the bunker area and escort it to the transfusion facility. Since it should still be round 3, then that means that all the zombies will be slow, which should make this step pretty easy. If you kill the crawler by mistake, then you will have to wait until next round to try again. Also, if you are too far away from the crawler, it will start to wander off on its own. Once the crawler has been successfully escorted, go back and interact with Rushmore. You then need to activate the ADAM unit and bring it to this door near the entrance to the diner. This will cause Marlton to give you the canister, which you then need to place in this location in the transfusion facility. After this, you should interact with Rushmore again to progress to the next step. This step involves transporting a server from one end of the map to the other end, using teleporter pads in a very limited time. Before starting this step, I inputted the code 7225 into Rushmore to spawn a bonfire sale, which I temporarily gifted. I then went and repacked the strife until I got the brain rot ammo type. This is because it is needed for both the main quest as well as the Mark II variant. I then found the mud pile with the green gas and turned a zombie above it to get the ammo canister for the orange Mark II variant. You should then do the step involving the orange orb and the teleporter pads before going to the storage and charging the ammo canister with souls. When you are ready, you should bring an electric crawler to open the server. You can open the server either by killing the crawler near the server or by making it hit the server with its ranged attack. You can see on the screen the route that I take to get the server back to operations. You should then focus on getting the codes for the next step of the quest. It should be easy for you to turn a zombie near each painting as the damage of the strife is low. Once you have all 3 codes, go and input them into Rushmore. You should do this either when you have a final zombie, or do what I did and kill the final zombie and input the codes while the round is changing. After this step, you no longer need turns, so you should go and replace your strife with the orange Mark II variant. You should then go and interact with Rushmore to start the next step. Since you are getting close to the boss fight, I recommend that you use a suit-up elixir, so that when you are in the boss fight, the elixir will be ready to use again. In order to turn on the power, you need to interact with the switches inside the bunker area until the lights turn green. The switches in the diner, beds and generator room need to be in the up position, and the switches in the lounge, solitary and storage rooms need to be in the down position. When all of the switches are correctly set, go and turn the power back on and interact with Rushmore to start the next step. The next step involves doing lockdowns in 3 different locations so that you are able to pick up 2 arms and a head. This lockdown should be easy to survive using the orange ray gun and rocket launcher. Each lockdown has 2 possible spawn points. For the first arm, the mannequin can either spawn in the yellow house backyard or the green house backyard. The second arm lockdown will either be in the diner or lounge area, and the head lockdown will either be in the prisoner holding house or the garden behind the transfusion facility. Once you have done all 3 lockdowns, interact with the android unit in the APD interrogation to place down both arms and the head to start the next step. For this next step, you need to find a blue orb and follow it back to the APD interrogation where the android is. I recommend that you firstly find where the elemental orb is, but don't get too close and accidentally start the escort. You should then go back to Rushmore and input the code 3279 so that all of the zombies become extremely slow for 5 minutes. Once you have done that, go back to the orb and follow it back to the APD interrogation. This step is trivial because of the slow zombies. Make sure that you don't go too far away from the orb, otherwise the step will fail. When the orb arrives at the android, go back to Rushmore and interact with him again when you are prompted. He will say that you have access to the APD, which means that you can start the boss fight. Hopefully you still have all of your armor from the elixir that you used earlier. Before starting the boss fight, make sure that you have a pack-a-punched orange ray gun, a fully upgraded rocket launcher, monkey bombs, and ideally a level 3 katana. You should also make sure that all of your elixirs are ready to be used before starting the boss fight, in particular the blood debt and suit up elixirs. When you are ready, go to the APD control and interact with the computers. After doing this, ADAM units will spawn in. You need to kill them so that you can fill up the soul canister, and it doesn't matter how far away from the canister you are. It should be easy to kill the androids using the rocket launcher. You should try to avoid losing any armor during this phase, as it will be more useful against the boss later. Once you have filled the canister and after the Avogadro has finished talking, you need to go to the lounge and fill up the soul canister. I recommend that you throw a monkey bomb to group up the androids, and just as it is about to explode, interact with the canister so that you immediately get a bunch of souls. This strategy is effective because as soon as you interact with the canister, the boss will appear, and you want to spend as little time as possible in close proximity to him. The boss will do a ranged attack which will inflict 75 damage if it hits you, so try to stay as far away from him as you can. After completing the lounge soul canister, pick up the drops and run to the diner area. You should repeat the same trick again with the monkey bomb. Remember that if you hit the boss you can stun him for a couple of seconds, but this seems to have a short cooldown, so you should be smart with your stuns. I will show on screen how I survived this room.
Initiating life force procurement sequence.
Take it easy on yourself. Let us die. A pyrrhic victory. Enjoy it while you can.
The third location is in the storage room. This room is in my opinion the hardest, so I recommend that you use a blood debt elixir for extra protection. However, you will lose points if you are in the radius of the rocket launcher despite having PhD slider, so you should use the orange ray gun while blood debt is active. The boss also does an attack where he charges at you. You will see that this attack removed all of my armor and caused me to have a dying wish proc because I forgot that this ability existed. Make sure that you don't make the same mistake. Luckily I had a spare suitable elixir which I could use to restore my armor.
I could crush you at any moment.
Your Avogadro is going to lash out! Not this area. Not even close.
Make sure you pay for this.
Honestly, I've resigned to my fate.
Warning.
The final soul canister is in the beds area. This is much easier than the storage because you have much more space. Try to always stay at the opposite end of the room to the boss.
Initiating life force procurement sequence.
You cannot stand in your destiny.
Not a good time to lose my shield. Never a good time.
For the final part of the boss fight, you need to go back to the APD control, and when the boss arrives, stun him and hit him with a katana until he's sucked back into the pyramid. You will then need to interact with the APD control computers again, and eventually the pyramid will open, allowing you to pick up the elemental shard and complete the quest.